Okay, the other stuff is pretty straightforward. Here's what the syntax looks like for Boolean expressions. You can use a double equals sign to test for equality, and you can also just use the word is. There's also a triple equals sign that you can use to compare actual objects together instead of their values, but that's seen less commonly. True and false are a little weird in that they are capitalized in Python, but only the first letter, like so. And for operators like and, or, and not, you just use the words and, or, and not instead of special symbols. You can do something like a case or switch statement by using Boolean expressions with an if, else structure like this. In this example, we print how did that happen if 1 is 3, which is always false. Otherwise, we move on to test whether 1 is greater than 3, which should also be met with disbelief if it were true. When that test fails, we fall back to our final else clause, which prints all is well with the world. Again, we use indents to associate code with specific clauses here. We touched on looping earlier. Let's go into more depth here. You can use the range function to automatically build up a list of values within a given range, like so. Again, we start counting from 0 here, so range 10 gives us back the values 0 through 9. The continue keyword within a loop means to skip the rest of the iteration and go straight to the next one. And the break keyword means to stop the iteration early. In this example, we use continue to skip over the printing of each value if the value is 1, and we use break to stop after we reach the value 5. Study the output of 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you'll see that's exactly what it did. An alternative syntax is the while loop, which iterates until some Boolean expression is false. Here we set up a counter variable called x and loop through printing x only while x is less than 10. Once it hits 10, the loop ends, as you can see in its output. So try out a really simple activity that pieces together some of the stuff we've just talked about. Your challenge is to write a block of code here that creates a list of integers, loops through each element of the list, and only prints out even numbers in the list. This should just be a matter of rearranging some of the other code in this notebook, so even if you're not comfortable with Python, I encourage you to give it a try. You'll feel a lot better with Python if you've written something yourself with it, no matter how small. Okay, so hopefully you didn't have much trouble with that. Here's my solution, and keep in mind, there's more than one way to do it. Let's type in my list equals, in square brackets, 0, 1, 2, 5, 8, 3. And you can use any numbers that you want. Then we can say for number in my list, colon. Of course, you might choose different variable names. If number mod 2 is 0, colon, print number. And as you can see, we do get the expected output of just the even numbers here. Okay, so that's everything that's peculiar about Python for the most part. If you're coming from some other language, that should give you enough knowledge to understand the Python code I'll be showing you in this course and to work with that code yourself. So that's your Python crash course. Obviously just some very basic stuff there. As we go through more and more examples throughout the course, it'll make more and more sense since you have more examples to look at. But if you do feel a little bit intimidated at this point, maybe you're a little bit too new to programming or scripting, and it might be a good idea to go and take a Python course before moving forward. But if you feel pretty good about what you've seen so far, let's move ahead and we'll keep on going.